Hey, hi, hello, and welcome. I hope you're having an amazing day because I know that I definitely am. My name's Stealthy and I'm a development ninja. As an HR manager, I helped hundreds of employees develop new skills and dozens of managers build the strength of their workforce. Now, as a learning consultant, I create programs and courses that help people build new skills and develop strengths they never knew they possessed. It's kind of my thing. Using my special knack, I want to help you progress along your personal and professional development journey. Now, here's my big secret. I don't just preach. I actually personally practice everything I share. In fact, during this podcast, I'll be sharing an update on my latest act of building on Bravery. So settle in, make yourself comfortable, and prepare to expand your mindset. Welcome to the Building on Bravery podcast. On this week's podcast, we'll be looking at development planning. What exactly is it? We'll be getting an update and exploring my personal building on bravery journey, and we'll also get a development hack, so stay tuned. So let's talk about development planning. What is it? So here's the thing I want you to keep in mind. There's no such thing as a special hospital where talented people are born. Managers, artists, singers, PhDs, they all started in exactly the same place you are, with a vision of what they want their future to look like and no idea of how they're going to get there. To be honest, this is actually a pretty great place to be. The whole wide world is open to you, and anything, pretty much anything is possible. You have a dream, so now let's make it into a reality. So here's the $1,000,000 question. How exactly do we do that? Let's be honest. Starting something new is hard, and it's scary. It's so scary, in fact, that most people never even get started. The fact that you're here right now listening to this podcast is huge. It's so huge. You actually deserve a pat on the back or a high five. You, my friend, are, without a doubt, a rock star. And as you know, every rock star needs to have an instrument. So today we're going to be talking about a development plan. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, now here's where you need to imagine that there are some fireworks or spangly sparklers. You may have come across the term development planning before. If you have, odds are it had a negative connotation, just to put it nicely. In the business world, development planning and performance improvement planning are often confused. Performance improvement planning, by the way, is a tool some managers use to help underperforming employees to, well, improve. Development planning is a very different beast. Development planning is a plan you create to either strengthen skills, knowledge, or characteristics, or to build brand new ones. Basically, a development plan is the roadmap that outlines all the steps you need to take to reach your dream or your goal. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's actually as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, goal. 2, gaps. And 3, go-dos. Let's break this down into bite-sized chunks. First, let's look at goals. Your goal is the dream or the vision for your desired future state. A goal can be either personal or professional, and that's the really cool thing about a development plan is it doesn't have to be business oriented. It doesn't have to be related just to your personal life. It can be either of those things, or it can be a combination of both. While it's great to have lofty dreams, for the purpose of our development planning, what we're going to do is we're going to want to start with a goal that's specific and realistic. So being rich isn't a development goal. Maybe buying my first car could be, though. Getting a better job isn't a great goal, but getting a job as a shift supervisor or insert some other title is. What's the difference? They sound pretty much the same. Okay, let's break it down a little bit more. Better job is pretty generic and it's not specific. It could be just about anything. How do you prepare yourself for anything? That's that's an honest question. How do you? If you happen to know and you happen to be watching this on YouTube, then leave a comment down below. I would love to know your secret. Now let's turn back to our roadmap analogy. A better job is like looking at Google Maps and saying, I want to go to Canada. How do you plan for that? Try making a reservation for Canada. It's not easy. If you look at Google Maps and instead say, I want to go to Kelowna, British Columbia, suddenly everything becomes much easier and much clearer. You can book a flight. You can reserve a hotel room. You can get a rental car. Fun fact, Kelowna is actually a real place. Look it up. Now that we've identified our goal, it's time to look for our gaps. This is our number 2. This is where we start to look at our current state and our desired future state, and we do a little bit of a comparison. We need to figure out what's missing. Let's look at a super simplified example of purchasing a new car. A new to me, also known as a used car, will cost me $2,500. I currently have $300. 25 minus 300 is 2,200. Okay, give me a sec. Yeah, I did the math right. I need $2,200. So my gap is that $2,200. Okay, it's an oversimplified example, but it's a really great illustration. Your gaps are the things that you need to make your future state a reality. They're literally the gaps that you need to fill in. Full disclosure, this is probably the most difficult part of the entire development planning process. Being self-reflective is hard. It's super hard. It's like really, really, really hard. We tend to do one of two things when we're being self-reflective. Either we're really hard on ourselves or we're way too lenient. Here's what I mean. I'm looking at my gaps to becoming a shift supervisor. Well, I'm an awesome employee and I'd be ready to be a shift supervisor right now if someone would just give me a chance. That's me being too lenient. Oh no, I'm not ready to be a shift supervisor. I have no transferable skills. I just don't see anything good in myself. That's me being too hard on myself. Even though it's hard, try to be as realistic with yourself as possible. Trust me, your future self will thank your present self, I guess. Finally, we come to number 3, the go-dos. Go-dos are all the steps you'll need to take to fill in your gaps. Sounds complex? Well, it really doesn't have to be. In our I want a new car example, our gap was $2,200. Was it 22? Yeah, it definitely was 2,200. Now, I'm a high school student. I know I sound super mature for my age. Wink, wink. Well, how will I get my $2,200? I'm going to get a part-time job on the weekends. So now we've talked about all of the three pieces. Let's put the three pieces of our super oversimplified but totally relatable development plan together. Number one, goal, to get a new car. Number two, gaps, $2,200. Three, go do's, get a part-time job. Now I know that this example is super simplified, but there's a reason for that. Development planning is super simple when you chunk it out using my formula. In future podcasts, we're going to talk about development planning and start digging into some of the more advanced tips and tricks. This is really just an overview, a highlight of what the process looks like, what the elements are. In the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop your goal in the comments down below. I'd really love to hear about them. Okay, so this is me being vulnerable. Anybody who knows me knows that I am a very private person. I don't like to share. I like to keep my private life to myself and, the things that are going on in my head to myself. So this is a big step for me. I am going to share with you what is going on with my own personal building on bravery journey. So I'm a really big believer that you're not growing unless you're doing something that seems at least a little bit scary. If you're sitting in your comfort zone, doing the same things you've always done, you'll keep being the same person you've always been. Being brave and trying something new is key to ongoing development. So that's what I try to do. I try to find ways to push myself. My most recent attempt to build new strengths through an act of bravery is, drumroll, please, streaming. I know that just came out of left field, right? So streaming, you're probably thinking, what's that? Let's take a moment and let's just back up just a little bit. Streaming takes a lot of different forms, but really what it comes down to is that someone is sharing something, whatever it is that they're doing, live through a platform like Twitch, Mixer, Facebook Live. My favorite streamers are painters, DJs, and this biologist I watch who streams what she sees under a microscope. I'll try to remember to drop the links in the description down below for anybody who's watching this on YouTube. But I'd also love to see what you've been watching too. Leave a comment down below and share some of your personal favorites. For me, streaming isn't just entertainment. Fundamentally, it's really about building community. Through this joint experience, people come together and they become friends. So, how did I get involved? I've been a stream watcher for years now. Is that even the term stream watcher? I don't know. But I never really thought about streaming myself. That was something that other people did. Besides, I'm more of a consumer than a producer. And I was super content with, being in that status quo. Over the years, I'd observed what streamers endure. They have long hours. They deal with viewers who say cruel and monstrous things. A lot of them invest more money into their streams than they'll ever see back. I also got to know a few of the streamers myself, and what they shared was even worse. No, it really wasn't for me. Happy as a consumer, thank you. But all of that changed when an acquaintance goaded me. To make a long story longer, I'm the kind of person that if I'm told that I can't do something, I will try super hard to prove that the opposite is true. And that's exactly how I found myself sitting in front of my laptop one evening, pushing the start streaming button. Yeah, I had nothing. It was literally literally a pawn simulator displayed on my screen and me talking to myself. It was super awkward and I was incredibly embarrassed, but I had to do it. I had to prove this person was wrong. What was done was done. I pushed through it. Then, to my total surprise and horror, a friend showed up and started chatting with me. My heart literally sank. I was absolutely mortified. I didn't want to share this horrendous moment with anyone. It was bad enough that I was here and that I knew what was happening, but that I was sharing this moment with somebody else, it was too much for me. I continued on with the stream and I vowed as I was streaming that I was never ever going to do this again. The stream ended and I had some time to breathe. I also had some time to start to process my feelings. The fear and anxiety that I was feeling was a sign. It was my body's way of telling me that I was pushing myself, that I was pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, and I was doing something big and something worthwhile. I couldn't stop. I had to keep going just a little bit longer. I owed it to myself to explore this and thought this was an opportunity to become more self-aware, to look inside and observe my thoughts, my feelings, my behaviors through a totally different lens. It was actually a really, really cool opportunity when I stood back and I looked at it. I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't let fear allow me to pass over this opportunity. My journey is just beginning. I can't wait to see where this takes me, what new skills I learn, what I learn about myself. If you want to follow along on my journey, I stream every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/stealthy as a possum. I would love to see you there and you can experience some of the embarrassment and some of this growth with me. I'd also love to hear about your own personal development journey. What are you being brave about right now? If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know by leaving a comment down below. Every week, we're going to be sharing a development hack, something that is going to help you along with your own personal or professional development journey. Now, something I want you to keep in mind is that development is a journey. It's not a destination. That doesn't mean that you don't need to know that you're actually making progress along that journey, though. There's nothing worse than working hard to try something new or develop a strength and being unable to gauge whether you've actually made any progress or not. 6 months down the road, you shouldn't have to wonder whether all your hard work is actually paying off. There's nothing worse than that feeling. Trust me. Before you start your next development journey, find a way to diarize it. This is incredibly personal and it can take a lot of different forms. So here are a couple of examples. Idea number 1 is start a literal diary. Track your development actions and how you feel about your progress. Idea number 2, do check-ins. Rate yourself pre, mid, and post-development. For example, pre-development, my singing ability might be a 2. After 2 months of classes, I might rate myself again, and I've gone up to a 4. I know that the classes must be working, they must be helping, I must be improving because my rating, how I scored myself, improved by 2 points. Idea number 3, create a portfolio of work samples or pictures. Gathering samples or images throughout your development journey, things that you have been doing or producing during that time, will allow you to see the changes and to mark your improvement in a very physical, very observable manner. Idea number 4, and this is probably the easiest, but it can also be the one that feels most awkward, is ask for feedback. It can be a real challenge for some people to critically and realistically assess their own progress. So ask someone who's observed you for their thoughts. Has your writing improved? Have you been using that overused word less frequently? Whatever it is that you're developing, ask your observer if they've seen any improvement. Now, knowing that you've experienced progress and improvement is the best way to keep you engaged as you continue along your development path. If you have any development check-in tips or tools that work well for you, share them in the comments down below if you're watching this on YouTube. We're constantly growing and changing. Development is something that's happening all the time, literally all the time, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. When you make the decision to take control of your development, you're able to accomplish all sorts of wonderful things. When we take a methodical approach to development, almost anything is possible. Thank you for sharing your development journey with me. I'm excited to walk this path with you, and I can't wait to see where your development takes you. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. And until next time, have a really great week and be gentle with yourself.